Hey everybody, Justin Dunaway here, lead faculty with the Institute of Clinical Excellence, teaching our spinal manipulation courses and our persistent pain online courses. Today I want to talk about strategy. I want to talk about some proactive ideas around how we should be engaging patients in this current realm of this pandemic. But before I get started on all of that, huge congratulations to all the newly minted DPTs. I'm seeing tons of social media posts of people passing their board exams and getting ready to enter into the profession. What a crazy time to be starting this profession as a healthcare provider during this pandemic. But there's tons of resources, and everybody's out there trying to do the best they can. So welcome to the profession, welcome to the team, and feel free to reach out and lean on all your colleagues as we all try to figure out how to venture forth in this new reality. So today I want to talk a little bit about strategy. This is an interesting quote from Michael Osterholm, who is the director of the Center for Infectious Disease and Research Policy. Check out his website, CIDRAP. Lots of really good information. He's been involved in lots of policy research and virus and pandemics and things in the last million years. But check out his website, lots of cool stuff. He's got a podcast I've been listening to, but one of the things he continues to say is that hope is not a strategy. And I'm going to go off kind of in my own direction with this here in a second. But, especially if you listen to me talk about pain stuff, hope is such an important thing with our persistent pain patients, right? We're hope dealers. We do everything we can to instill hope in the population and then drive them forward. But hope isn't the strategy. Hope is the gateway. Hope is the thing that opens the door to a proactive strategy that drives patients towards a solution, right? And I think that's what Michael Osterholm is talking about here. When he says hope is not a strategy, what he's talking about is, we can't just sit and wait and hope for a vaccination. We can't sit and wait and hope for a new medicine that's going to come by and magically treat everybody that comes in really, really successfully. We can't just sit and hope that the disease is just going to go away on its own. We know that it's going to start to slow down and go away when we either have a vaccination and we get 70% of the population, or 70% of the population contracts the disease. But waiting for that, hoping that those things occur, is not a strategy. It's not proactive. It's not doing anything positive. So what can we do as physical therapists as we're entering back into treating patients? And whether you've been on lockdown for 9 weeks and furloughed, or doing telehealth, or back in the clinic with PPE and business as usual, wherever you live on that continuum, there are things that we can be doing proactively with our patients beyond the CDC stuff, beyond the hand washing and the mask wearing and the physical distancing. What are the things that we can be doing? How can we engage our patients in a way that I'm going to say something here that should get some hackles up. How can we proactively boost our patients' immunity? Now, before you bear with me here, there's some crazy stuff on the internet that has those words around it that are not changing what's going on inside the patient. But what I'm talking about are there things, are there strategies, are there ways that we can change our patients' behavior to increase immunity, to increase resilience, to increase strength? It's a Jeff Moore quote, how healthy are you going to let me get you, right? What are the things that we can do to make the patient, to make the system most ready for if they are to contract this disease? How can we make the patient so ready to fight any type of perturbation to the system that it increases their chances for success, increases their chances to get through this and healthy? And I really think that when we think about immune function, or when we think about resiliency, there's really 5 main domains that we can leverage to really make patients as healthy and as resilient as possible. And they're exercise, their sleep, their stress, their diet, and socialization. So I want to talk a little bit about each one of these and just some goals that we can set when we engage these patients. But I don't care what the human comes in the door with or signs on to Doxy or Zoom with. No matter what we're doing in a session, we have to dig into these 5 domains. And anything that we identify that we can improve there is only going to make the patient healthier. It's only going to make the patient more ready to handle any perturbation in the system. So the first one, exercise. And it was really awesome. Dustin Jones just turned me on to a study. If you're in our Hump Day Hustle, you'll probably see it here in the not too distant future, called The Impact of Sedentaryism. I'm going to read this because it's a weird title. Impact and Sedentaryism Due to COVID-19 on Neuromuscular, Cardiovascular, Metabolic Health. I'm just going to read you one quote from the study, but it says, in just a few days of sedentary lifestyle are sufficient to induce muscle loss, neuromuscular junction and fiber denervation, insulin resistance, decreased aerobic capacity, fat deposition, and low-grade inflammation. This is the stuff that sets people up to get sick or to not deal with sickness as well as they would be if they were moving. Now, that's just in a few days. I personally, I'm in Oregon. I've been furloughed. I'm on week 9. If I didn't know better and I didn't exercise regularly, maybe I had a manual labor job and I felt that that was enough, and I've been sitting at home for 9 weeks. If this stuff just starts in a few days, think about the deleterious effects on the system after 9 weeks, right? We know there's so many powerful benefits of exercise on systemic inflammation, on muscular strength, on resiliency, on injury reduction, on stress, on anxiety, on sleep, on all the functions that we chase. We know that general exercise attacks all those very, very well. We also know that if we can take somebody who is sedentary and move them from sedentary, defined as less than 40 minutes a week of moderate to vigorous activity, and move them to 150 minutes per week, we can reduce all-cause mortality by 70%, and that is not during a pandemic. That's just in normal times, right? People are in a weird position right now. And if we have the opportunity to engage them, this is one thing we should be driving. We should be asking questions about their general physical activity, and if they're under that number, doing everything we can to get them to that 150 mark. If they're already there, wonderful. What can we do to take what you're doing and load you or challenge you in a way where you continue to get stronger, where you continue to have positive adaptation? It doesn't matter what we do. Let's figure out what you would enjoy doing, what you have access to, and let's design ways to get you having fun moving and getting you healthier. Our goal with everybody right now should be to get them stronger, to make them walk out of this pandemic stronger than they walked into it. So exercise, number 1. Number 2, sleep, right? Every human needs at least 8 hours of sleep. Whether you're 15 or whether you're 90, you need at least 8 hours of sleep. We know that sleep is a powerful modulator of inflammatory cytokinins, pro-inflammatory and anti-inflammatory. We know that this has a huge effect on the balance between those two things and really drives our immune function. There's one study that I read that actually said that they took patients that they were giving hepatitis A vaccinations to, and half of them had a normal night's sleep and half of them had disrupted night's sleep. And the people that had a good night's sleep actually had significantly increased titers following the injection than the ones that didn't. Sleep is so powerful. So when the patients walk in the door, no matter what they're in for, let's dive into sleep. One of the most powerful indicators of sleep dysfunction is not restful sleep. When you wake up, do you feel ready to go or do you feel tired? If you feel tired when you wake up, let's dig a little bit deeper. What's your sleep routine look like? Do you go to bed at the same time every night and do you wake up at the same time every morning? Do you have trouble falling asleep? Do you have trouble staying asleep? What does your sleep hygiene look like? What are the things that we can tease out of that and then create some goals around? Do some graded exposure, set up some goals and some successes so that the patient can get better sleep, so they can have a better sleep routine. There's tons of resources out there on sleep hygiene, but let's figure out if our patients are having dysfunctional sleep right now. Let's turn that around. Let's do everything we can. Let's give them every tool possible to change that. How about stress and anxiety? Lots of people are stressed. Lots of people walked into this with some stress and anxiety on board, but a lot of humans are having way more stress and anxiety than they're used to right now. Right? There's a ton of people on unemployment, ton of people out of work, ton of people having trouble making ends meet, ton of people that are just totally, I'm a creature of habit and my routine is totally disrupted and I'm stressed out. Like there's lots of reasons why people have heightened anxiety. And we know that general anxiety disorder disrupts the immune system. It disrupts those inflammatory and anti-inflammatory cytokinins. We know that anxiety drives up inflammatory cytokinins as it reduces anti-inflammatory cytokinins, which puts your immune system in a place that it is less resilient to handle any perturbations. Right? So let's dive into that. Let's have those conversations with our patients. Are you having some stress? What's going on? Let's talk about it a little bit. What are your coping mechanisms? Are you having some dark days? I've had a couple dark days during the last 9 weeks. What do you do when you have those bad days? Can we come up with some tools, with some mechanisms, with some coping strategies so that when you're really feeling up against it, these are the things you do to bring yourself back down? I'm a big fan of Headspace. It works for me. It works for some patients. But talking to your patients, figuring out, one, if this is a thing, two, what some of their triggers are, and three, how can we avoid those triggers? And then what do we do when we're over the edge? But building coping strategies around those things can really help change the patient's stress and anxiety, which can change that inflammatory, anti-inflammatory balance, which can help their immune function and make them a more resilient human. How about diet? We're not dietitians. There's so much information about diet. We know that diet is a powerful modulator of immunity. It's a powerful modulator of just resting levels of inflammation and resting anti-inflammatory levels. We know this stuff. There's no real agreement on any specific diet, but we can talk to our patients about their diets in general. What's their eating schedule look like? Do they free feed from the time they wake up till the time they go to bed? Or do they have regimented times that they eat and that they don't eat and then they snack? What do their snacks look like? How much processed sugar are they getting during the day? What are they drinking? Are they drinking a ton of calories during the day, or are they eating all their calories? How much vegetables are they getting during the day compared to grains, compared to meats, compared to vegetables, compared to nuts? There's some really nice general things that we can tell patients to work on their diet, to clean some of that stuff up, especially now when it's so important, when people are more stressed, when people are moving less, when people are snacking because they're stressed, snacking because they're bored. These are things that we can identify in our patients and set some goals around as well. And last is socialization. Physical distancing might be important right now, and there's a lot of stuff to say that's helping flatten some of the curves. But it doesn't mean social distancing, right? There's so many great ways, free ways, easy ways to engage with people that you normally engage with. There's Zoom and GoToMeeting and Facebook and all the way, and just normal phone calls, text messages, whatever. There's so many ways to engage people. A lot of people are feeling isolated right now. It's important to talk to our patients about that as well. Ask our patients, before all this was going on, who'd you engage with on a regular basis? Who did you talk to? Who are your friends? Did you hang out with people from work? Are you talking to them now? When was the last time you engaged with somebody that you used to engage with? Do you have ways to get a hold of these people? Let's set some goals around that. Maybe between now and next session, let's pick 3 people that you're going to have, you're going to get on the phone with, or you're going to FaceTime with, or you're going to set up a Zoom meeting with. Is it possible to get a hold of your friends from work and have a go-to-meeting happy hour? There are lots of different ways to get at that. I've been really lucky at ICE. I chat with most of the faculty on a pretty regular basis, almost daily. We have a weekly happy hour with the in-laws every Sunday. We get together. We had a happy hour with a handful of the stand volunteers a couple days ago. This is super important for our mental health. We have to be able to continue to engage people. So I really believe that diving into these 5 domains, exercise, sleep, stress, diet, and socialization, is going to be super important in helping our patients move forward here. We as physical therapists are in an incredibly unique position. We have a lot of trust with our patients. We have a lot of access with our patients. We get to spend a lot of time with our patients. We get multiple follow-up visits. We need to leverage this time. We need to leverage this opportunity to make our patients as resilient as possible. And this is the stuff that will drive resiliency. This is the stuff that will make our patients healthier. This will make our patients more apt to handle any perturbation of the system that might come on. So no matter what John's in the door for, John came in for elbow pain, fantastic. Let's talk about his elbow. But let's talk about his habits during the day, during the week. Let's ask him about his sleep. Let's ask him about what's going on in his head, how he's handling everything that's been going on, and if there's anything that we can talk about in there. Let's ask him questions about his diet. And let's figure out who John is talking to and how he's remaining engaged with the people that are important in his life to keep that good mental health going. Awesome. Thanks for listening. Super excited to hopefully be getting back in the clinic soon, doing some telehealth, doing some face-to-face stuff. But be sure that this will be the more important thing that I'm focusing on going forward. We need to make a more resilient population. All right. If you have any questions, throw them in the chat bar or shoot me an email. And thanks for hanging out. Stay safe, stay healthy, and talk to everybody soon.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to the PT on Ice Daily Show. If you enjoyed this content, head on over to iTunes and leave us a review. And be sure to check us out on Facebook and Instagram at the Institute of Clinical Excellence. If you're interested in getting plugged into more ICE content on a weekly basis while earning CEUs from home, check out our virtual ICE online mentorship program at ptonice.com. While you're there, sign up for our Hump Day Hustling newsletter for a free email every Wednesday morning with our top 5 research articles and social media posts that we think are worth reading. Head over to ptonice.com and scroll to the bottom of the page to sign up.